can really say with an open and honest heart that, we've been lucky enough to, I think, find our feet here. And I just feel like, it's an amazing privilege to live in this beautiful country. I really get to enjoy quality time with my family. Me not worrying about my family constantly is the thing, that stands out. But, for me as a female, as a mother, but also as a professional, I really enjoy the fact that I can parent hands-on but still work and do that all within the freedom that we have here.
I'm Dr. Chamonix Blanche, ex-corporate and academical, turned CEO and board member of several companies and mother of 4 little extraordinary kids. But it wasn't that long ago that I lacked the confidence, the know-how, and the time to focus on designing and really going after the life that I so wanted to live. A life of freedom, of fairness, and of being fair dinkum to who I really was and what I wanted to get out of this fleeting time that we have on Mother Earth. Fast forward to many lessons learned and moving halfway around the world to the most amazing country, you'll see the life that I now live. One that gives me more safety and freedom than I ever thought would be possible, and that really only existed as a daydream while I was living in South Africa. I created Chamonix TV to give you true spot advice on how you can also live a life in this amazing country, and so that you can see how another couple like us now live in Australia with 4 little kids here in Down Under. And I'll be providing you with step-by-step strategies so that you can make your Aussie dream a reality too. If you're a keen future Aussie who's looking to create a life that excites you and offers you safety, freedom, and opportunity, you have come to the right place, my friend. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Liz. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from the sunny Sunshine Coast. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Chamonix. Thanks. Thank you for the opportunity to be speaking with you tonight.
I am so excited to hear about your whole journey because you guys have only been here for 2 years. And excuse me if I say only, because to me, 2 years is almost like very fresh. You probably think, oh, Chamonix, I've been here like 2 years. It's all... How does it feel? Does it feel like it's been 2 years?
Yeah, I must say, depending on the day, and I think, depending on, the circumstances, it feels long and short, depending on the time. But I think, when you start, missing friends and family, 2 years feels like a long time. And then, other times it really feels like yesterday when we were still back in South Africa.
So when you close your eyes, when you lie in bed at night, do you like find yourself thinking that you're still in South Africa, or do you like have accepted the fact that you wake up in Australia, I guess?
Yeah, I've accepted the fact that I wake up in Australia. I can really say with an open and honest heart that, we've been lucky enough to, I think, find our feet here. And I just feel like, it's an amazing privilege to live in this beautiful country.
So why Australia? What was that process that happened for you and your husband?
I think when we started with the immigration process, we looked at countries that would offer us the opportunity to work, and also at countries that will give us a visa in the shortest amount of time. And for our professions, those 2 countries were Australia and New Zealand. And yes, we are in Australia now, so that was our choice. And that's how we decided on Australia.
Did you decide the Sunshine Coast from the start? Did you say we're going to go to the Sunshine Coast and find a job there, or did you get a job there and then said, okay, we'll go where the job is?
Yeah, so Initially, we really wanted to go to Perth because we knew a few people in Perth, but our journey didn't work out that way. So my husband was only able to get employment on the Sunshine Coast. We were familiar with the Sunshine Coast, but obviously not to the extent that we are now. And the longer we live here, we just feel like it's the best thing that could have happened to our family. Yeah, so to answer your question, no, we planned to go to Perth all along and yeah, ended up on the Sunshine Coast and just love it here.
I have to say that's probably one of the best places you could have accidentally landed on, because as you will know now, it's not like you're in the back streets of Australia. This is like prime position. So many people just would give their whatever to go and live in the Sunshine Coast. I love the Sunshine Coast. So tell me a little bit about your visa application process. How long before you started, or before you applied, did you start considering moving to Australia? And then, walk us through that process, if you don't mind.
So we started with the process in 2016 already. So to be more precise, in March of 2016, we sort of had our first serious immigration discussion. I think, immigration is a frequent topic of conversation for many South Africans, but for our family, the first real serious conversation was in March of 2016. And we started with the process, to get our skills validated and the whole process. And we got our skilled independent, it's the 189 visas in November of 2016. And then we came over to Australia in 2017 to Perth to activate our permanent residence, and then went back to South Africa. We were really in, I think, a comfortable, way of living back in South Africa, and both of us were really, happy in our jobs back home. And I think we were just not there yet to make that final move. So our journey was a bit different. But yeah, I think from the day we decided that this is what we want to do until we had the actual visa was a couple of months, but it took a couple of years for us to actually make the move.
And whereabout were you in South Africa at that point? Where are you from?
Yeah, we are from Potch, so probably one of the most Afrikaans places in South Africa. We both studied there and continued living there for a couple of years, and that's where we're from.
So you decided to apply, you came and you activated your visa, then went back to South Africa. And what was that next decision that made you say, okay, we are now ready? Like, what did you start having a family, or was there something else at play?
So we started with a family, and I think as soon as we had our first child, we just realized that this is something that needs to happen sooner rather than later. And our second child was born in Australia, so we have one South African and one Australian. But it was definitely the moment our family, I think, grew or expanded. We made the decision that we needed to come over.
So one boy and one girl, I guess?
Yeah, a boy and a girl.
I have to do the maths now. What, 3 and 1 or 4 and 2, or where?
So 5 and 2. Yes.
5 and 2.
Yes.
So is your 5-year-old in school yet in Australia?
Yeah, so both of them go to daycare on the days that I work. I only work part-time, which is something that I love about Australia, that I'm able to work part-time. And yeah, both of my kids go to daycare on the days that I work, and we couldn't be happier with the school that they go to. Um, yeah, so the school has an early learning center, a primary school, and a high school on the same premises. So next year, when my son starts with prep, he will be in, yeah, or basically on the same premises as his little sister. So yeah, we're really lucky with the school that our kids can go to.
And I obviously know that's a private school because you don't get that for the public schools where you have all the years together in the same school grounds.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit more about your decision around the school. How
Yeah.
did you decide on the school? Is it in proximity to where you live?
Yes. So I think when we came here, our son was still, I think, he was just over 2 years old and didn't know much about the schooling system in Australia. And I think, this private school that they are going to was in close proximity to where we lived, and it just looked like an excellent daycare center. And, so he was enrolled, and, later on when I had my daughter and she was of age to start to go to daycare, she went there automatically. But, obviously, as the children became older, we started to do our research in terms of, schooling. And I think, the education system in Australia is wonderful. I think, for us, it's just a personal choice because the private schools, or the majority of them, have a religious foundation, and the one that we go to in particular has a Christian basis, and that is something that's very important to us as a family.
Mm,
And that played a big role in our decision, to keep
mm.
the children there.
Now, you mentioned Christian, being Christian. Have you guys found a church that you go to on a regular basis, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, we have been going since coming over to Australia, and I must say that was initially also a place where we were able to make some connections, um, form some friendships. Um, so yeah, that's been really good to us as a family, to just connect with people, with the same sort of, yeah, I think, life orientation. And I think also, at school we were able to form some relationships with some of the other mums or parents of friends. So I think, yeah, both church and school and work has been very instrumental in helping us to just reform those connections on this side as well.
So, do you guys have, uh, I want to say, a good number of friends? Like, are you happy with your social circumstances? Still
Yeah.
keeping in mind that you are parents of little kids, which plays a big role.
Yeah, I think we are very fortunate. People and friendships are very important to me. And I think that is also something that I miss dearly about South Africa, is those standing relationships that was built and established over years. But I think, yeah, we have a good number of friends, and I think that for me it's also important, the quality of the relationship rather than the
Mm,
quantity.
mm,
I found that as, an immigrant in a new country, there's a lot of vulnerabilities to a certain extent. You're not in your comfort zone. You're not so familiar with everything, and I think that also brings a new sort of edge to relationships. So yeah, it's definitely a big learning process, but amazing to walk that journey with friends that have been through the same, but also others that are not on the same journey, and just form new connections because you're forced to do that.
So does that mean then, I assume, that you have other friends than South African friends?
Yeah, yeah. So among our best friends is actually two Australian families. Um, and yeah, they've just been so inclusive and so supportive, and so curious about our culture and where we come from. And my Australian friend, we worked together, and she would go as far as to write me little notes in Afrikaans,
Oh,
and
oh,
look
how
up the
sweet.
words. And yeah, so really rich experiences that we've had with the Australians. So we have beautiful South African friends, and friends from other nationalities like America and China. And then we also have the Australians. So yeah, I would say a very diverse circle of friends.
So what does a typical weekend look like for you guys?
Yeah, so for my husband and for the kids, outdoors as much as possible. Yeah, I like being outdoors as well. But I like the bush and they like the beach and the sea. So we do a bit of a combination of both, or try. But we usually spend our weekends catching up with friends, because the weeks are so busy. And it's, work and activities and
Mm.
all of that. So yeah, the weekends are just amazing to catch up with people, but just to enjoy this beautiful environment.
You mentioned work. So you said you work part-time. Do you mind sharing with us what kind of industry you work in?
So both my husband and myself work in allied health, and that is, something that is almost in the beginning, I couldn't get my head around how flexible I find the work environment here.
Mm.
You know, extended maternity leave, companies being willing to work around your availability and um, your family setup. And
Mm. Mm.
I know that this will differ from industry to industry. I cannot, say that what we have will be the same for everyone.
Yeah.
But just in general, I feel like, the work-life balance
Mm.
is much more than what I had previously. Yeah, I just find the whole system to be really accommodating, and really, um, yeah, promoting family life. So
That
that's
that's
really.
great, because over and above obviously the safety that you and your family are experiencing in Australia, what I'm getting from you is you're saying you're having a better quality of family life due
Yeah,
to the work circumstances that is so flexible.
yeah, definitely. And
So
you mentioning safety and security. I think after 2 years, it's really easy to just start and take that for granted because you're becoming used to it.
mm.
But you mentioning it now, that is really something. The absolute freedom, and security that we have is amazing.
So what would you single out as the best thing for you about Australia? Why do you love living in Australia?
I I think, for me as an individual, I think, family is extremely important to me. And I really get to enjoy quality time with my family. And I think, the answer to your question will differ from person to person. I think if you were talking to my husband, he might have said to you, Chamonix, me not worrying about my family constantly is the thing, that stands out. But, for me as a female, as a mother, but also as a professional, I really enjoy the fact that I can parent hands-on, but still work and do that all within the freedom that we have here.
That is so good to hear, because I know as a mother, we are often torn between deciding to have a career and also being the mother and providing for those kinds of needs of, having, especially when the children are young. So it's great to hear that you have that opportunity of choosing whether you want to actually do the one or the other, or a combination of both, which is what you're having, the best of both worlds. Tell me, Liz, what's been I think the hardest thing for you, apart from missing friends and family, because that's a given, I can understand that. But what's been the trickiest or the hardest thing for you about settling in here in Australia?
I think, initially it was just, being so unfamiliar with the system and getting your head around, how everything works. And, everything is a very broad term or concept. But it was definitely difficult to just understand, how different things work, medical systems, school systems, the work system, all of that. And then also something for me, was to work primarily and in English, but think in Afrikaans. That was a big adjustment. But as time passed, all of that has, just resolved itself. And currently, I think we are faced with, COVID that restricts our traveling. That's very difficult at the moment. I think when you immigrate, you have at the back of your mind, you will always be able to go back and visit family whenever you want to, or at least once a year. And that is difficult at the moment, but I'm very much aware that this is also temporary. So we'll move past this as well.
Yes. What a bizarre situation are we finding ourselves in this world or this life? I think one day we're going to look back at it and say to our children, we were part of that. Like how they refer back to the Eerste Wereldoorlog, what's the First World War? You're like, Oma, your grandma was, grandma. Exactly. Sorry, not your grandma, your granddad fought in the war. It's like, we fought COVID virus when it was there.
Yeah, exactly.
In regards to settling in to the Australian culture, and for other people who might be moving here, what would be your tips for them to find their feet?
Yeah, I think, if I can carry over like one piece of advice, what was really helpful for us was to have two families on the Sunshine Coast that we knew, and they were able to help us with some of the more administrative sort of tasks. But yeah, if you can move to a place where you at least know someone, I think that's really, really helpful. I think initially, just to have someone to help you and show you and sort of take you under their wing, that was really helpful to us as a family.
That's great tip, because yes, I know exactly what you mean. When I first put feet on the shore, I had nobody to phone. It was such a sad case for me. I'm like, I just want to go for a coffee with somebody. I don't have anybody on my phone. It's like zero, nobody. That's it. So yes, it certainly helps if there's at least one familiar face. It doesn't have to be your best friends, even. It doesn't have to be your uncle or your auntie, or like just a person who you can phone
Yeah.
is really handy.
Because Chamonix, everything is new. You have to find a new GP, you have to find a new pharmacy, you have to, find, your local grocery store. When you go into the grocery shop for the first time, you see a variety of 20 different boxes of milk. You don't know what to buy. You don't know what washing powder works. And so everything is new, and it's amazing just to have someone who can help a bit in that initial phase of adjustment.
And on the other hand, it's quite exciting because you get to try all these new things. I love trying out new things. But yes, I when everything is new and you don't know where to start, it's sort of a bit overwhelming in the beginning. Now, most of our viewers watching this obviously would love to come to Australia. What would be your number one tip for them? What should they do to make their way over here? And do you think they should come?
Yeah, well, I definitely think they should come if they have the ability to do so. I'm just so aware that everyone's circumstances are different. And I think it's very important to do as much research as you can before coming over, and not assume that things will just fall into place and work itself out. But to get information, to talk to people who have done it. Obviously, it's individual journeys, and not everyone can come over on the same, visa. But to get information, I really feel that knowledge is power, and the more information you have, the better. And that's why I think, what you are doing is amazing, to put information out there, to help people, to connect people. So that would be my advice. Connect with others, get as much information as you can, and choose the best possible avenue for your particular circumstances to come over.
Great advice. And guys, you're watching. This is somebody who knows what she's talking about. So I really do appreciate you, Liz, for coming and sharing your journey into initially this unknown new big island that you came to, and now a place that you call home. It's always heartwarming to see that you're thriving and enjoying it, and just the words around how you can now package your life around your and your family's needs, and having that flexibility has been really encouraging. And I hope that the people watching it take note of it, especially if you have little kids. This is a country of opportunity, and it does allow you to do that. So thank you again for coming and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you, Chamonix.
Have a lovely evening, and I'll come and visit you in the Sunshine Coast very soon.
Yeah, please do.
Thanks, Liz. Bye.
All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you had fun, please remember to hit that subscribe button, and then it'll make sure that you never miss a thing. I'll see you same time and same place next week. Bye for now.